Alright, so this video is going to be a bit longer than usual, but I want to take a little look at Battlefield 1, Infinite Warfare and Titanfall 2's campaigns all together and compare them and tell you guys about what one I feel is probably the best out of the lot of them because, well, obviously those were the big three FPS games of last year and probably will be for this year as well, so I kind of want to compare them all. I'm not going to be using Modern Warfare Remastered as well, I'm only going to be comparing Infinite Warfare. So we may as well get into that. So first game I'm going to talk about, since it's the first that released, is going to be Battlefield 1. So Battlefield 1's got a different structure to both Infinite Warfare and Titanfall 2. The way Battlefield 1's campaigns work is you've got each individual short war stories, as they're called, which basically means that you may have a campaign that's got 1 or 2 missions long, but there's around 5 or 6 of them, so you know, instead of having a long singular campaign, they've went for multiple small campaigns, and some people may like that, but personally I'm not very keen on it. But at the same time, some of the campaigns are pretty interesting. So I'm going to talk about the first mission in Battlefield 1 right now, which is Storm of Steel. Now Storm of Steel, it is a mission obviously, and the way it works is it's focused on the Harlem Hellfighters, and it's just talking about World War 1 in general, and I really feel like this mission sets up the tone of the game overall, because in World War 1, you know, with the amount of casualties that there were, it feels like not every life on the battlefield was worth something, you know, like not everybody was worth as much as, you know, Infinite Warfare may make you feel. You know, in Infinite Warfare, you're basically this big badass, you know, like you could pretty much take on a whole army. But in Battlefield 1, in this introductory mission, it kind of just feels like you're this really unimportant, nameless character, and to be honest, you are, really. I mean, you're part of the Harlem Hellfighters, which I'm gonna express my disappointment right here, because I thought that they were gonna have quite a big part in the game, because in the marketing it suggested so anyway. They talked about the Harlem Hellfighters quite a lot, and it's just a bit of a wasted opportunity that they don't have their own campaign, because, well, there's some of them that aren't as interesting, such as the one where you fight with Lawrence of Arabia. I know that's obviously quite a big thing, but you don't play as Lawrence of Arabia, and I just feel like it's a bit of an unimportant campaign, you know. Like the Harlem Hellfighters, you know, it's more a cultural thing, because those guys, with the way things were back in World War 1, obviously blacks, you know, the way it was in history, you know, blacks had less rights than white people, and especially in World War 1, because, you know, the blacks weren't allowed to fight in the army. And when they finally were allowed to join the army, they weren't actually fighting, you know, they were just used as, you know, basically the workers, essentially, you know, like they did repairs. They didn't really do anything all that important until the Harlem Hellfighters came along, and, you know, those guys kind of changed a lot of things with that. And I just feel like with them recently being credited for their part in World War 1, I don't know, man, I kind of just felt like they should have had a bigger part in the game, because it would have, you know, been a more cultural kind of thing. And I don't know, man, it just kind of feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity, because they've got quite an interesting story to them, and it's just kind of wasted that they're only in one mission. But anyway, this first mission, the graphics really shine, and it's more just to talk about World War 1 in general. You know, it's not a great war, you know, they're not trying to romanticize the war or make it seem great or anything. You know, it's extremely gritty and violent and brutal, and with the amount of lives lost, obviously, they established that, because, you know, you assume because in most other single player games, you know, your character dies, that's it, game over. But in this first mission of Battlefield 1, when your character dies, you literally just move into the boots of another soldier on the ground, and, you know, it kind of talks about how each soldier was relatively unimportant in the grand scheme of things, which is something that I'm really keen on, and it's got a big bit of storytelling overall right there. But, you know, it kind of feels like they wasted that, because the rest of the game doesn't really have that feeling to it, other than the campaign of Through Mud and Blood, which is by far one of my favourites out of all of them, and chronologically it is the one that you play first. Essentially, Through Mud and Blood is one of the tank campaigns, or it is the tank campaign. You play with a tank crew, you're this essentially new guy, you know, you're the new replacement driver for the tank called Big Bess, or Black Bess I think it was, I can't really remember exactly. But anyway, you're the driver and you're joining late to the war, you know, you're the new driver, you're the replacement. So obviously these guys have been through shit together, and, you know, they're kind of just getting adjusted to you and whatnot, and, you know, they're a relatively dysfunctional tank crew, they're all at each other's throats constantly. And it's just, it really reminds me of that one movie called Fury, which is, you know, it's not really it's a World War II movie, you know, the one with Brad Pitt, John Bernthal and Shia LaBeouf and all those guys. I really feel like it reminded me of that movie, and I loved that movie, honestly, so it kind of makes me like the campaign a little bit more. And there's just something badass about rolling around in this gigantic landship and just blowing everything up. It's pretty damn awesome, and I'm gonna be honest, the campaign is probably one of the most standout from the game. Well, this campaign at least. And then after that, you know, the campaigns, some of them feel a little bit lackluster, I'm not gonna lie, but some of them are really good, especially through Mud and Blood, so, you know, I definitely recommend checking that one out if you've got Battlefield 1. But I'm not going to talk about every single one of them, but I just talked about Through Mud and Blood because it's one of the best in my opinion. But yeah, this campaign, it really lets the engine do all the work, you know. Like, you really get to see how beautiful this game can be at times, and, you know, even though I say beautiful, it's not. It's gritty, you know, it's really brutal, there's a lot of blood everywhere. Well, not just the blood and everything, but, you know, just the way it is, you know, you've just got the ground where it's pretty much like an entire countryside is just been reduced to a bog, and you know, it's really great the way they've done the graphics in this game. You know, they really give that campaign that little bit more edge, which is something that's pretty cool. So, you know, hats off to DICE, they really made a good looking game with this one. So, you know, as I said though, the characters aren't exactly the best, and the cutscenes are nice looking, but, you know, overall it's not exactly the most memorable campaign ever. So I just kind of feel like that describes Battlefield 1 in its entirety though, because Battlefield 1, it's not really a campaign focused game, it's more based on the multiplayer, and I feel like that's one thing that kind of disappoints me, because, you know, every other game on this list, they put a lot of effort into the campaign except for DICE. You know, obviously all the Battlefield fanboys come out with the excuse every single year there's a bad Battlefield campaign. They come out with the excuse, oh well, Battlefield's a multiplayer game, isn't it? Well, yeah, but that's not a fucking accurate excuse. An accurate excuse is, well, even though it is a multiplayer focused game, you know, they didn't exactly focus all too much in the campaign, which is something they should have done, but, you know, whatever. Taking way too much time to talk about Battlefield 1 anyway. So, moving on to the next game on the list, Titanfall 2, which released 7 days later after Battlefield 1, and I'm going to say that I feel bad for Respawn, because the way EA tried to cannibalise the market with both Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1 is something that I disliked, and something that a lot of people spoken out against. Because Titanfall 2 really is a game that should have sold well, and it didn't, just because of the way it released. Because you've got Battlefield 1 that launched like 7 days before, and when you look at the marketing of Titanfall 2 compared to the marketing of Battlefield 1, they didn't really spend all that much money trying to get the brand image of Titanfall 2 out there. You know, you'd see Battlefield 1 adverts on the television, but you wouldn't see any Titanfall 2 ads. You know, I'm going to be honest here, I've only seen a couple of Titanfall 2 adverts on the TV, and it's just something that disappointed me, because they didn't really try and advertise this game, which this game could have done with that, because this is probably one of the best games on the list, you know, both in campaign and multiplayer. So yeah, I'm just disappointed they didn't try and push this game out there a little bit more, because I feel like more people would have enjoyed it. And it's just something that really annoys me. Like, fucking good job at EA. You know, you pretty much shot your fucking own games. You pretty much shot your own game in the foot here, you know? Good fucking job, man. Typical EA move right there, you know? They're so fucking money hungry. They're a bunch of cucks. And I hate people trying to defend EA, because they're scumbags, you know? This proves it, you know? I mean, obviously they were trying to steal the thunder from Infinite Warfare and try and get Infinite Warfare crippled, because obviously they smelled that blood was in the water with Infinite Warfare because of the trailer and all, but, you know, just the way they did that, man, was so disappointing, you know? I'm so pissed at EA still for doing that, but whatever. Titanfall 2's campaign. Titanfall 2's campaign is something utterly spectacular, and the amount of attention it's receiving, especially the campaign, is something that I am so happy to see, because this is a campaign that deserves all the praise it gets and more. And I feel like a lot of people just didn't give this game a chance because, I don't know, I don't really know the reasons why. Maybe it's because he didn't like the multiplayer tech test, I don't know. But honestly though, the campaign for this game is something truly special, because in the original Titanfall, obviously Respawn did have some sort of a campaign, but realistically it was just a multiplayer match with a bit more flavor text and context, which is something that I'm not happy about. That's, you know, you shouldn't skimp out on campaigns. There's something that you really need to put a lot of time and attention into, and what they did with Titanfall 1 was a fucking waste of space. But Titanfall 2's campaign, It really hit the nail on the head, you know. Perfect job. There's this one mission in the campaign. I'm trying not to delve into spoiler territory right here, but yeah, there's this one part in the campaign where it's this mission where the only way I'm going to describe it is you'll know it when you see it. You'll know it when you play it. And this mission is absolutely incredible, you know. I'm not going to talk about it because I feel like you should play it and I don't want to give you any spoilers, but you know, there's this one mission where they've got a lot of parkour elements to it, and the way they've done it is absolutely impressive. You know, I was blown away by it. I was sitting playing it thinking, God damn, man, Respawn do know how to make a game. And it's no surprise that the guys from behind the Respawn Titanfall 2 campaign are the guys that were behind the campaigns of Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2. It's no surprise that it was those guys. So, you know, you can see that you've got a big AAA studio behind this, just they're not the same name, they're not the same Infinity Ward they used to be, but it's the same company, let alone that are doing Titanfall, so, you know, you're in good hands when it comes to Titanfall. But as it stands, the gameplay is easily the best out of all three, you know. The Titanfall 2 gameplay is utterly impressive, the movement is something really unique, and obviously people don't think it's unique because every game's trying to copy it, but you know, it's funny because every game is trying to copy Titanfall with its movement. You know, you've got Black Ops 3 to try to copy it, and then you've got Infinite Warfare which try to copy it as well. And every single game that tries to copy Titanfall is always going to fail because they always get it wrong in one place or another. Black Ops 3's fatal flaw was they try to restrict your movement to a thrust meter. And you see, the special thing about Titanfall's movement is it doesn't restrict you, you know, you can boost as many times in a row as you want. You know, it doesn't try to force any restrictions upon you, which lets you move a lot more fluidly, and when you've got a more fluid movement system like this, and trust me, this movement system that they've got in Titanfall is way more fluid than boots on the ground will ever be. And with how fluid the Titanfall movement system is, it really lets you chain together these awesome kills, you know, like you can go from being 20 feet up in the air, wall running, to jump kick somebody in the face, you know, to like fall down to the ground and jump kick somebody in the face to land. And it's stuff like that is so badass, and it makes you feel even more badass, because that's the thing with Titanfall, you're playing as a pilot and you're meant to be the most badass soldiers that are on the battlefield, and you really do feel like one. So, you know, hats off to Respawn, they wanted you to feel like a badass with this campaign, and they did it successfully. You know, it's like with Doom 2016, how id Software wanted you to feel like a badass when you're playing as Doomslayer. It's like that when you're playing as a pilot in Titanfall 2, and that's something that is just so awesome. You know, the story to this game as well, that is, oh, it's amazing. And it's something that came as a total shock to me, because I wasn't expecting a story like this. Like, it's almost like a Halo level story, man. Like, seriously, really impressive job they've done on this game. But nonetheless, if you've got a copy of Titanfall 2, play the fucking campaign, dude. It is absolutely impressive. I want to say this right now, I played this campaign in one sitting. That's how good it was. I played it all in one sitting and was not bored at one point. So I do recommend you go and check out Titanfall 2's campaign. Another thing though that I need to just add is the difficulty. It isn't quite there. The difficulty on, because I played this game first playthrough on hard difficulty, and I'll tell you right now, it wasn't the AI that killed me, it was my mistakes with the wall running and the parkour that killed me the most. So if you're like into normal difficulty, I recommend you play it on hard difficulty first. You know, just up your difficulty one level to what you'd normally play. You know, if you play on easy, go to normal. If you play on normal, go to hard. If you play on hard, go to the higher one. It's just the way it works. This campaign is quite easy, so I do recommend picking the higher difficulty. And you know, you want a bit of a challenge when you're playing this game. It really, you know, yeah, I just prefer a bit of a challenge with my games anyway. So moving on with Infinite Warfare, since this is the last game that released on the list. So Infinite Warfare. Well, this game really did have a bit of a tough time getting on, you know, just getting along with half of these people in the COD community these days. You know, everybody hates Infinite Warfare, and you know, it's easy to see why people hate it. You know, we asked for a boots in the ground Call of Duty game, and what did Infinity Ward give us? They give us a game set in space. And you know, the thing that's disappointing with this game is just people never gave this game a chance. I see a lot of people that don't play COD campaigns in the COD community anymore, and it really is sad to see that, because this game It feels more in line with the classic Call of Duty games where campaign was the main focus of the game and multiplayer was kind of just this bonus game mode. That's what Infinite Warfare feels like to me. The campaign really has the most effort put into it in this game, which is something that I'm really happy about, because the campaign of this game, sure, it's not Titanfall 2 levels of good, but this is certainly a great campaign that took me by surprise. There's certain parts of this game where, you just find yourself sitting there thinking, man, they couldn't have done that if they didn't set this game in space. So I'm happy that this game is set in space, because there's so many cool, unique things that they can do with this game that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do if this was like a Modern Warfare game. There's a level of tension that they can set up in this game that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to do. One of them in campaign is one of the most basic things about space. That is, space is a vacuum and you cannot breathe in space, which means that any slight damage to your spacesuit or your helmet can mean that you're dead in an instant. And there is moments in the game where you can start seeing your suit get a little bit more worn out. There's this section of the game where it's on the first third mission or so, when you're on the moon base anyway, and you see this crack start to develop in your character's helmet visor, and you start seeing it just get wider and wider, and it just brings in this tension that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do with the game being set on Earth. And that is something that I applaud Infinity Ward for, because they've taken big steps with this game and it really has paid off with the amount of tension that they can set up in places like that. And just another thing that I need to say about this game is just the scale of it. They've got scale right in this game. You've got the ships that you serve on, and there's this certain part in the game where you've got the SDF, which are the enemy faction that you fight for the entire game, and you're on your feet on this one mission. You're on foot and you're going through this base. And, the SDF main carrier, this is like their main fleet ship that they own, called the Olympus Mons. It just comes out of orbit and you see the size of it. It's literally gigantic. And that's something that I really do like, because obviously they've got the skill right in this game, and, it's when you see stuff like that, it's awesome. But anyway, man, the gunplay is kind of just standard for Call of Duty games, it's as you'd expect. But the thing that really makes this game for me is definitely got to be just... It's hard to explain, but it's definitely got to be the way this game makes you feel. Now, this game kinda is one of those Call of Duty games that can hit you right in the feels, and it will. There's a certain part of the game where I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you're stranded out in space with your robot sidekick buddy Ethan, and it is really one of the most dramatic and emotional moments in the game. And it hit me right in the fucking feels the first time I seen that part, man. I was sitting there thinking to myself, this is great. They've got characters right in this game. The characters actually feel human. And it's funny to say that even your robot sidekick, Ethan, feels one of the most human characters in the game. It's just that, how much you like the characters and, with the way they set them up, and it's kind of just average, but honestly, this Call of Duty campaign is really, really good. It's definitely not as good as Titanfall 2, but, the game is definitely good, and it's definitely worth a look. Another thing about this game that I need to just, make a quick mention to is the soundtrack for Infinite Warfare is fucking fantastic. Hold up a second, I'm going to find out who made it. The person who made the Infinite Warfare soundtrack is a woman called Sarah Schachner, or Schachner, I don't know how you pronounce that, but she did the soundtrack for this game, and it's absolutely phenomenal. The soundtrack is so good. And I read something somewhere that the track that she auditioned for with, the song that she made for the game, it turned out that Infinity Ward liked it so much they turned it into the main theme for the game called Anthropic Universe. And there's a couple of moments where that song plays in the campaign, and it, you can feel the waterworks coming on, because it's it's such a good song combined with the emotion in some certain scenes. And I've just got to say that Infinite Warfare is one of the most pleasant surprises I've had all year. I wasn't expecting this much from this campaign, because I was almost ready to write this campaign off, because I was thinking, oh well, this game's just going to be ridiculous. But it definitely is worth playing, and it's definitely got some surprisingly good parts to it. But as it is, man, yeah, I definitely recommend you play all of these games on this list. Maybe not Battlefield 1's campaign because they're a little lackluster, but I definitely recommend checking out Infinite Warfare and Titanfall 2's campaigns. I read recently that apparently Infinite Warfare was selling for £13 in Argos. Not Argos, I think it was Asda or something like that. I don't know what shop it was, but you know, if it is really going for that cheap, then pick the game up, man, because this game it's got a campaign that's definitely worth that. You know, I spent £50 buying the Legacy Edition of this game, and I'd say the campaign is worth £50, you know. It's maybe not the longest campaign ever, but hey, I think it's definitely worth it, and it definitely is worth it in enjoyment for me. So, yeah, campaign in this game, definitely worth checking out. Leave all your space hatred at the door, though. Just go into this game and just play it as you would normally. Don't fucking go into this game, you know, with your grudge, thinking, oh, fuck this game set in space, you know, this is a load of bullshit. Don't go into this game thinking that, because you're not going to enjoy it from the get-go if that's the way you think. You know, go into this game for a bit more of an open mind and you definitely will enjoy it a lot more. Same with Titanfall 2, and I guess the same goes for Battlefield 1 as well. So, yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. But, as I said, I was going to compare them and say what one I think is the best. Well, starting off at the number 3 spot, I'd easily put Battlefield 1 right there. Coming in at number 2 spot, Infinite Warfare, and at the number 1 spot, I put Titanfall 2. And I really do think that is probably how I'd rank all 3 of the games. This is the campaign, mind you, so when it comes to multiplayer, they'll definitely get a different rating. But as it stands, man, these are the best campaigns, well, best FPS campaigns of the year, you know. Well, obviously they're not the best, but, you know, they're the big 3 from last year, so I definitely say that Titanfall 2 was the best of the bunch, and yeah, I definitely feel like it deserved it. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Naturally, there's some things I'd like to have talked about in this video, but I couldn't have because I didn't want to make it too long. I mean, the video is almost about 20 minutes long as is. Well, it is 20 minutes long, but you know, there's some things I'd like to talk about, but I couldn't, so I do apologise for that, and do know that I probably would have mentioned a couple of things, but I just simply don't have the time for it in this video. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been a long career, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.